When he refuses to deal with his own health, it isn't just his problem, it lands on you too, and you already carry enough.
Welcome to the Couple Cure.
The season has been about him doing the work, and this one is about a kind of work that he typically avoids, and it quietly becomes your load. Maybe you're the one that's had to track all of his appointments and noticing whether or not he's taking the meds he needs to take and wondering if you have to manage his health too. And there's a difference between a man taking care of himself and a man numbing himself. And you can see it from the outside, and I'll show you how. There's a reason his health is actually about you, even though it sounds like his business, and we'll get to that. When I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom had a car that over time, she said, we can't afford to fix everything on the car. So the rule was, if you hear something rattling, just turn the radio up louder. And sadly, that kind of translated to the way I lived too. Instead of actually fixing things, whether it was a health issue or an emotional issue, I just found a way to turn up the volume, which was a way to numb instead of heal. And you know what that cost Lori, what that cost my family, what that cost me in my own body was I was just distracting myself from things that I could have taken care of, but I didn't want to. Whether it was the distraction from how I felt physically, or it was things aren't going well between me and Lori, I'll find another way to turn up the volume with just one more distraction, and that led to a bigger price for her as well. If your husband does the same thing, every time he turned up the radio, you were the one still hearing the rattle. This is what real health looks like from the outside. It's not about whether he's fit or muscular. He doesn't have to be that guy that's at the gym all the time. But watch for some of the basics. Does he go see the doctor? A dentist? Does he take the meds that he's been prescribed? All of it. Not just enough to feel better and then quit. A man who addresses those problems is a much different man than someone who just turns up the volume. That's going to look different to you over time, addressing the physical health issues, but also the emotional health issues and the relational health issues between the two of you. One of them takes engagement, and the other one is just more and more numbing, and it gets harder and harder to live with. And if he's not taking care of his health, then his health falls to you. It's another load for you to carry. So a rule that protects you is it's not your job to schedule his appointments, chase his meds, or manage his body. You can ask because you care, but you don't have to do it for him. How I want to equip you is you can definitely care for him, but you don't have to become his nurse, and definitely do not become his mother. But when he refuses his own health, when he makes himself a burden, then that burden has been falling on you. Mental health counts too. That's one of the things that I feel like is so important for men to focus on. Men are far more isolated. They have smaller circles, and so that raises the risk of depression, anxiety, and worse. Going back to the circle of support, that's what men need. They need men that they can lean on. Maybe he needs to be talking to a therapist or a pastor or a mentor like me. That is going to be taking care of himself. It's not weakness, even though he may call it that. You can't make him go, but you can stop treating his refusal as normal. You don't have to deal with his refusal to go. You can ask for a better response from him. When he actually starts to apply some of this, he's going to book those appointments for himself. He's going to take a full course of medication. He's going to go for walks because walks are consistently seen to be one of the best ways to increase cardiovascular health and to stave off Alzheimer's. One thing is he stops assuming that everything's fine. And for that guy who is actually taking care of himself, he begins to realize he doesn't have to reach for the distractions as hard. He doesn't need the radio to be turned up so loud. And that serves both of you. You don't have to manage it, but you are watching to see what he does with it. And that'll tell you a lot. So that's the last foundation stone. Next time, we're going to start on the storms themselves. If he's ready, send him to stormreadymen.com to take the assessment and explore the C.U.R.E method at thecouplecure.com.